To look at your news. Now here's Mike.
All right, thank you very much, Janice. Well, if you have life and term life insurance, what should you do with it at certain ages of your life? Stewart Welch joins us from the Welch Group to explain some of the options for you, which ones to consider. Good to see you this morning.
Good morning, Mike.
Most people, if they have life insurance, it's going to be either term or whole life, variable life, or whatnot. But if you have term and you're getting on towards the end of that term, there are some things to consider because for a few years you might not be with insurance, right?
Well, I think that's right. I get a lot of, first of all, lots of people have term life insurance.
Yes.
And I get lots of questions of, should I keep my term life insurance? So we came up with 3 questions.
Okay. Let's run them down right here.
First question is the need still there? Is the reason that you bought the term life insurance still there? So a lot of times they'll buy it while they have young children.
Yes.
And maybe they'll buy a 15 or a 20-year level term insurance, and the kids are, in college or out of college, and they're looking at it and saying, do I still want to keep this policy? And if the need's gone, then that's a reason that maybe you ought to drop it.
But if you bought a 20-year term, 15 years ago, it's probably still relatively inexpensive on the premiums.
It is.
And maybe those kids, even though they're on their own, might get a little financial boost. You want to leave them something, though, right?
Yeah, you could. So I think, again, you just evaluate that situation, and decide whether you want to do it. The second.
Yeah, go to future. I was looking ahead. There future liquidity required. Now, what do you mean by that?
So a lot of times term life insurance was bought because if somebody died prematurely and they had a very large estate, they could have a death tax. And so a lot of times they used the term life insurance to come in and cover those taxes. They changed the tax law, and now you get $5,490,000 of exemption from death tax.
Okay.
So most people, that's not a problem. For most people, that's gone away.
Right. Well, and we were talking about this earlier too, in another segment. Should you convert it to a whole life or variable life policy?
Well, I think, and that's really the last question, how's your health? So let's just assume that you decided I really no longer need it, but now I'm in really bad health. Okay. So what's happened is the life insurance might have now be a very good deal. In other words, you got it when you're in really good health, now you're in very poor health, and you might want to look at that and say, should I continue it just because now it's a good deal?
All right, when you convert a term life, let's say you're 60 years old and you're going to convert it to a whole life, are the rates usually better on what you can get on a whole life than you could a term at that point?
Well, I think here's a great point. The first thing is you have most policies, you have a guaranteed right to convert it to that permanent insurance at a preferred rate, at whatever that rate was that you originally bought it. Now, when you go from term to whole life or some version of that, it's going to be a lot higher premiums, but again, you're guaranteed to be able to convert. If your health is bad, that may be a good deal.
All right. Stewart Welch, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, it's 7:42 now. More ahead.